Gabe Cordova here, core group at EXP, but also senior realtor in residence at Ylopo. And I'm super excited to have this guest with us today to teach us, show us the way, help us increase conversion. Because I know one of our areas we've been very buyer heavy, lead conversion process and all that. And me and my team, we need to speak a new love language, or at least work on it a little bit. So Dale Archdekin, tell us a little bit, for those that don't know, who are you, what do you do, and how are you going to be helping us out today?
Yeah, I'm the founder of Smart Sales Coaching, and we do scripting and dialogue training for agents and ISAs. And, we go beyond the script. We take the sales skills of salespeople and we just dump some rocket fuel on top of it, right? We help them have much better conversations, much more comfortable conversations. And we also specialize in helping teams optimize their sales teams and implement inside sales. So that's what we do. We are almost like a fractional sales trainer, sales manager for your company.
I love that. Some keywords that we're going to go in deep. One of them, implement. Another one, train. Before we dive in, guys, I want to go over a couple of housekeeping items. Yes, this is being recorded. We promise. It's also being live streamed into the Ylopo Success community, but we'll get a copy out to everyone who registered. And we want to encourage some questions along the way, because this is very much in the weeds, scripting, really changing that love language, what we're saying, who we're speaking to, and how we're saying it. But if you would help Dale and I out, please, down below, you will see a Q&A chat bubble, or bubbles, I guess there's two. If you please throw your questions in there. They get buried a lot of times in the chat and we don't want to miss them. So if you can, again, please throw your questions in the Q&A section down at the bottom. That would definitely help Dale and I out as we're going. So we're really focused, you just kind of teed it up, Dale, but we're focused on sellers, right? And incubating, converting, but setting that appointment. And I think even a little bit what to say, not only to set it, but once we get there, but getting in that mindset. Because I think that a lot of agents, team leads, and I'll raise my hand on this one, we just assume that our agents know how to talk to sellers. The things to say from when we're doing the lead generation to the appointment is the same as buyers, but it's really a bit different. And that's what you're going to break down for us.
Yeah, so today, the whole purpose of today was helping agents and ISAs get more face-to-face opportunities with sellers. Because in a lot of cases, it's really easy to set an appointment with a seller who wants to meet with you, or is ready to talk to an agent, or ready to put their home on the market. Occasionally, there's those sellers that want to do some pre-planning, or they want to have some initial information. But for the most part, they really hold off until they're ready to talk to you. And the problem that we have is we know that the person, usually the first person they get face-to-face with is the one that they're going to work with. And so really, we want it to be us. And so, Gabe, I just wanted to cover real quick some of the Ylopo tools that you guys are using to generate seller leads right now. And we just, I thought we could talk a few minutes about where we're getting listings from these days.
No, I love that.
Yeah. So Gabe, why don't you take us through some of the Ylopo tools, and where are you guys, what are you using within Ylopo to generate seller opportunities?
Absolutely. I think where I want to start too, also just a little bit at the bottom, right at the foundation. I think a lot of people are, okay, I need more seller lead generation. I've been doing, buyer lead gen, PPC, whatever it is. And so first and foremost, I want to stop everybody and just, when somebody comes in, even if they're buying, we're finding, because we're working through a lot of the funnels and everything and asking the right questions, and then even listening to what our ISAs and our agents are saying, a good 30-40% of these people have a home to sell. All right. So I want to make sure we're setting the stage, as well as just when we're doing lead generation of the different types that are out there, that most buyer lead gen coming in, if we're asking the right questions, and you're literally going to get some scripts and some keywords and things to say from Dale here in a few minutes, but you'll start identifying those are sellers. So I would just go into it, not with a preconceived notion, especially on buyer lead gen, when they come in looking for 3-bed, 2-bath in Austin, Texas, or Boise, wherever it is, that it's only a buyer. right?
Yeah. People usually start looking at houses before they think about selling their house. Nine
Yeah, they
times,
don't. Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
I said 9 times out of 10. I mean, I have no intentions of moving. I'm a real estate agent. My wife is a real estate agent. However, I would say every 6 months or so, she says, "Oh my God, we have to go look at this house," right? No intentions of moving, but she's always looking, and they just pop up and we're like, "Oh, we should go look at this." But, if we were to make a move, which we have no intention of doing, we would sell this house because it wouldn't make sense as an investment for us.
Yeah, 100%. We just got to start asking the right questions. So seller lead generation, number one, make sure you're asking the right questions to the leads that you're already getting. Number one. So another one that we're working on, and I don't mind saying this on here, I'm not going to get in trouble because there's nobody on here to get me in trouble. And I just want to answer my phone later, but technically G already said this. You and I were just in Vegas,
Yeah.
speak lead conversion, a lot of different tech and tools to help people increase their ROI and have a better business.
I'll be with you again in Orlando. So if
In
anybody
Orlando,
wants to come
2 weeks.
if anybody wants to get hair care tips from me, come to Orlando.
Yeah, get the hair care tips from him for sure. I'll give you some fashion advice on shoes, but in fact, I think Michelle's on. If you could get us the link for Orlando, that way it's just in there. But yeah, we'll be live in Orlando a couple of days, going through a lot of similar stuff, but deep for 2 days. But one of them that G announced in Vegas, so I'm going to bring it up, that I'm working with Ylopo on is going through and asking more questions, but identify what people registering are interested in receiving an offer on their home currently. Right? Because a lot of people are, and again, this is a conversation starter. So are they looking for a cash offer because they're trying to establish value? Are they in an urgency? Z Buyer is another one, does a lot of cash offer, right? So these are very specific call to action people, trying not to say leads, trying to take Levia's advice and break my habit. These are people coming in that may have already made a plan where they're going, have figured that out, but now they want to start figuring out where they are in their home ownership, right? And so cash offer is a great way to start figuring out, who's out there thinking that to get conversations started. And that's really probably one of our big focuses right now is finding out those people who, based on media or whatever it is, stats showing that maybe they've hit the top and are starting to come down. So they may want to cash out of their equity. And one thing we're finding on that is of the people coming through, and I was just on another webinar prior to this, tracking the stats of the people coming through. So if you're listening to this and it's like, oh my gosh, I don't have the cash to buy it, or if you don't have a program, we use one through EXP called Express Offers. There's a lot of programs out there where you can get the cash offer. Right. Only 7% of them, once you actually get them on the phone and reach out, are interested in that, right? Yeah. So I think that's a big limiting belief, and part of what you're going to be teaching, as well as how do we start having these conversations, right?
Let's address that one real fast, because I know that agents out there who may not have gotten as creative in their brain yet or don't have the experience might be thinking, oh, I don't know if I can do a cash offer. I don't know if I have an investor lined up who would purchase it. Listen, there's a couple of facts of life here in real estate. One, if you find a deal, any investor will buy it. So you have all of the investors in your market. All you would need to do is just get out there and know who they are. And you don't even need to know them ahead of time. But if you have options for these people, right? A cash offer comes from an investor. If you aren't an investor yourself, I promise you that there are cash offers in your market ready to be made. Or if you're with the EXP, like Gabe or myself, you can use the Express Offers. Other labels have some sort of cash purchase feature as well, which you don't need to have, but it's a nice backup. And then what you have are just the traditional listing route, right? You can give them 3 options. Hey, I can get you a cash offer from somewhere else. We could do a quiet off-market, promotion of your property, or we can go the traditional listing route. And generally, the cash offer people really love to have options, and your competitors oftentimes won't be creative enough to give them options.
That's what it is. That's a conversation, right? So that's why, the fascinating part about cash offer is, and it's not a bait and switch, some want it and you can offer it, right? You just need the conversation. But once you offer some options to people, and again, what's really cool about this is people are volunteering their name, their number, their address. checking the box saying, I'm interested in a cash offer. We all know that if we want something fast in cash, it's going to be less than anything else. We're having these calls right now, and they're like, I'm sure this is probably going to be more of a wholesale type offer. Absolutely. But if that's, are you finding, and I'll give you guys scripting a little bit, and you have some, are you finding yourself in a position where you have to sell fast, or would you like to maximize? We'll go into it. Most of them are maximized, but it's getting some sort of call to action, generating it, and then setting up what you're going to talk about, how to have conversations, how to set those up. So, and I think as we're going through, I can jump in, show some of the tools. I'll show one other one really quick, just because I know people.
I'm going to shut my window shade here.
Yeah, you're good. I'll jump over here. One of the other tools that we're using and teaching across the country for generating more sellers is our, so we got a bunch of different tools we use through Ylopo. We just put them on one page so they can get through there. And we're going to break some of these down later. But simple open house. You want more sellers, right? Open houses. Nosy neighbors are going through doing open houses. So what we need to do is go in. I'm going to grab an MLS number real quick. It's as simple as just as long as you have an active property, doesn't even have to be, let me go up. Doesn't even have to be one of yours. We just need an active property MLS number. I'm going to grab it. It's loading here. I'll just grab this beauty. Go into it because these nosy neighbors are coming through wanting to know what's going on. Let me grab this real quick. There we go. All right. Long as I have an MLS number that I'm going to do the open house on and know my name, right? I can instantly create something to register. Now I can have this on an iPad, a computer out front, put into full screen. Everybody has their cell phone. I can give you scripting in a little bit, but once they register, it captures them, puts them into our CRM. And one of the scripts, because you're going to give a bunch, I'm going to give one right here. All right. People on here and throw into the chat. Let's make this interactive. How many of you have done open houses and have failed, whether it's fear or lack of scripting, you have failed to get a majority of the people coming through to give you their name, email, phone number. All right. So if you have, throw in there yes, or I have, right? Most of us have not done a great job about getting this. And I think it's a little bit of a fear to get it. And then if we do it, all right, as you guys are doing, yep, I have, and it's a missed opportunity. Now let's just say, for those of you, and we won't judge you, at least we won't judge you to your face, those of you that are using paper and having people sign in, the few that you get, what happens to that most of the time?
Can you read it? One, and two, are you going to call them?
100%. So I'm going to give you a quick script, all right, for everybody on here. Use a tool, something like this. We actually grab this QR code, do a quick little screenshot. We throw it real small on a flyer because I want to have them something sitting next to them. But you can do this either way. Here is where it gets really cool. I'm going to turn my screen share off so we can see each other. So we're talking start before the open house to get more registrations. Yes, start before the open house. Dale's my seller. All right. Hey, Dale, everything's set up this weekend for the open house. We're doing Saturday, Sunday between 12 and 2. Are those times still work for you?
Yes, that's good.
I already knew he was going to say yes. I'm nodding my head. I'm getting a yes out of him, just warming him up. Hey, and Dale, we're really expecting a lot of traffic. We've been advertising this. We're hoping to get a lot of people through. I won't be able to follow everyone through every room as they're coming through. So for safety and really security reasons, would it be okay if that I let them know that you've required everyone come through register so we have a paper trail of who is in your home and when?
Oh yeah, definitely. That makes sense. I don't want a bunch of strangers, floating around.
I can't follow everyone around all the time. Do I have your permission that you've required to have them sign in? So we have a paper trail for security and safety reasons. Who was in your home and when? Stop talking. The seller's we've never had one say no. All right. Even if it's vacant, we need a paper trail. If somebody gets hurt, something happens, we need to know. So now when you get to the open house, your person or people are walking up. We always ask, oh, hey, welcome. Are one of you the agent? If one of them is, perfect. Hey, may I have your card? Or will you scan in so I can do follow-up with you? The seller's requested. They don't ever have a problem, right? Now, most of them coming through don't have their agent. So they're like, Dale and his wife are walking up. Hey guys, welcome. Are one of you the agent by chance?
Oh, no.
No. Oh, great. Hey, well, no worries. Do you guys have your phone on you by chance?
Of course. Yeah.
And I use a flyer, but you can have this up here. Hey, the seller has asked everybody coming through without their agent. If you can just grab your cell phone, just scan this QR code real quick. Sellers request required that everybody scan in just so we know who's been here and when. Stop
Okay.
talking. Oh, we don't really want to. Oh man, I wish I could, but the seller, and I'm going somewhere with this, has required that we have a paper trail. Everybody come, for safety reasons for everyone. Just a couple questions. And here's the great news is I can't put all the pictures, virtual tours, walkability scores, everything on this little flyer. Once you do that, you'll also get a link with all the photos, the virtual tour, and all the information on the home. So you can scroll through and look at it at your convenience.
Yeah,
right?
That sounds good.
If they say no, it doesn't matter, right? You're doing this to get them through. Here's where it was a long story to get back to. You know that other sellers in the neighborhood or buyers who have a home to sell are coming through these open houses. You just got the information and upheld your seller's requirement to get the information, right? Who do you think as those people are going through are going to want to respond to? The agent that's got information, right, on what's going on. So it's a buyer tool that will help you land more sellers, and or if you once you get the listing, report back who came through. So it's a great, easy tool that we use to sell more listings, capture more buyers, but also win more sellers. So
that's
I'll
great.
stop talking now. Let's start getting, as we got more leads coming in, more tools to show later. But as we're generating these seller leads, identifying people who have a home to sell, what do we say? What do we do?
That's a great question. So as we talked about when we were in Vegas, it's so simple when somebody does want to meet with you, when they're ready to list, or they want to, they want to get more information from you. It's super simple. But those people who aren't quite ready to list, they aren't ready to meet with an agent, they don't want information from you yet, or they're not ready to get whatever it is that they think they're not ready for. When we show up, what we represent is we represent the wrong thing, right? So when a seller is considering an agent, what they hear or what they think is that I'm definitely ready to sell and get moved, or I'm ready to advertise my home. I'm ready to choose you as an agent to work with you. I'm ready to have buyers walk through my home and look at it like it's in presentable condition. In some cases, I know that, we've all heard where a seller doesn't even want us to come through the property until it's ready to be seen, right? And you're like, no, that's the wrong way around. Like, I'm here to help you get it ready. Like, you don't have to make it pretty for me. I can look through that stuff, and they also, in their minds, they're like, I need to know where I'm going to move next, or have chosen the area that I'm going to move to. Or in the most extreme cases, I mean, we hear this all the time, right? No. I need to figure out, or I need to find the home I'm going to purchase before I consider selling my house, which is, we understand it, right? It comes from a place of fear, but especially in these markets for the past, 10 years or even now, you just have to say you're going to sell your house and you can get some offers on it, right? It's not, they don't have to worry about the home getting sold. Now, we're not going to say that to them, right? But we just have to understand their perspective, that they're a little bit backwards. And that's the whole purpose of what we're talking about. So, in teaching agents how to get more face-to-face, that's the whole thing. We need to get face-to-face with these people, because we know that usually the first agent they meet with is the one they're going to work with, usually the one they're going to list with. I don't remember what the statistic is. Do you remember that statistic? Is it like
they're all made up? It's a lot. Officially a lot.
All right. Most statistics are made. 90% of statistics are made up. So what I'm going to say is that, probably 80% of sellers are going to work with the first agent they meet with that comes and looks through their home. If they like you and you stay in touch with them, they're going to work with you. So the real opportunity is in getting face-to-face with these people sooner. Okay. So I just like to line this out when we're training agents and ISAs. We say we have now, soon, later, and then takeaway. And when you're talking to a potential seller or somebody that owns a property that is potentially going to sell it or put it on the market, whether it's because they're going to be buying another place, or whether it's because they're moving out of town, or they have an estate they have to deal with, whatever it may be, they're generally going to fall into one of these 4 buckets. And we just said that now is the easiest appointment to get, right? Because they want to meet with an agent. They get progressively harder. If you think about soon might be somebody who's thinking about listing their home or putting it on the market in the next 1 to 3 months or so. Later is somebody that's pretty far down the road. We're talking like 6 months to maybe even 12 months. And the takeaway is I don't even know if I'm going to sell this property or not, and I have no time frame around it. Okay. The takeaway is going to be the biggest long shot, but that's going to be somebody that you really want to get in front of. You know, that's a luxury listing. That's a very key listing in your market, or let's say you have an investor that has a bunch of units or whatever it may be, right? That's something that you really want to talk to. So if we look at now, soon, later, and takeaway, basically what we have to do, we said that, you know, sellers or potential sellers, homeowners are really regarding us in those ways of, I have to be ready. I'm not going to talk to you until I'm ready. So we just have to soften our language. So when we train agents and ISAs on how to set appointments, what we do is we just work through softening language. And I put these onto bullet points here so that you guys can see them. And then what we'll do is I'll show you some examples of how you weave this into a close for getting face-to-face with somebody.
So is this, and because there was something you said in Vegas, and I think this kind of plays into it, so I don't want to get ahead of you if I do, but there was something you said in Vegas that really resonated. This is what I love, right? We've all known each other. We're all in the trenches. You know, we do some things well, and there's areas we are working on, right? All of us. And one of the things you said that really resonated with me that I've shared with my team and literally trying to implement is you talked about present, past, and future. And I kind of see some of that in here, and it's probably dictating a little bit on what you're saying and how you're saying it to people based on which category you think they're in.
Yeah, exactly. What I had mentioned in Vegas was, especially when you're asking questions, and this is probably the easiest way to delineate it for people, there is another thing that you want to keep in your mind. When I'm asking questions, is my question past tense, present tense, or future tense? We as salespeople are frequently asking future tense questions when we're talking to buyers, right? When we're talking to buyers. And sometimes when we're talking to people that have changed their mind, we immediately switch to past tense, which is what caused you to change your mind? What happened? Why did you decide not to do it, right? That's past tense.
Yep.
When we ask a buyer, for instance, hey, where would you like to move to? What's your time frame? When would you like to be in the home? That's a future tense question. Present tense would be, Gabe, where do you live now? Gabe, what neighborhoods are you interested in? Gabe, do you currently own or rent, right? So those are buyer questions, present tense questions. What the point that I was making in Vegas is that when you're talking to a prospect and they are objecting to you, be cognizant of whether I'm asking a past tense question, present tense question, or a future tense question.
Right.
Because somebody who doesn't have plans, let's say that I went to, for instance, later, right? We said later is like 6 to 12 months from now, okay? And if I asked you a question that was a future tense question that you would need to have made plans around to be able to answer for me, something like, Gabe, when do you think you'd like to get your home on the market? And I'm talking to you and you're 6 to 12 months out. You have no damn idea when you want to put your house on the market 6 to 12 months from now, right?
Yep.
I'm too far out in the future, present tense. That comes from salespeople and sounds like sales pressure. So in addition to, am I asking past, present, or future tense questions? What this looks at here is says, hey, size them up and figure out what sort of readiness bucket you think they're in. Are they now? In which case I can ask lots of present and future tense questions, right? Are they soon, but not quite ready? I better dial back some of those future tense questions, right? And be a little more present.
Yep.
If I'm looking at way out 6 months, 6 to 12 months, I better stay present, right? Or even put it into the context of way out there, right?
It's huge. I mean, and I don't know about other, we have, you know, over 100 people on here. And when you're saying that, and I'm just going back to the calls that I'm listening to and with our ISAs or agents and having it, and I think you had it on a couple slides prior, when you, again, it sounds simple, but it's massive, right? Because, you know, you have a new person that's potentially selling and you start, what you're saying is to future, like you had on your slide, they think you're wanting to bring buyers by now. It needs to be photo ready now. It is because we're saying too much in the future. before we even have set up the listing appointment or walkthrough or whatever it is. And so to me, it's just a huge takeaway as I'm seeing this and looking at our own scripts and how we're presenting some of our tools.
Yeah, so I want you to listen to this, okay? Let's presume, and I want to show the next bullets real quick. Let's show these. So these are takeaway, right? So these are this is reversal, and I'll talk about the concept of reversal next. But I want the audience to listen to this context, okay? Most agents speak in the now category here, right? Meeting, selling, game plan, strategy, active buyers, competing offers, right? Very action-oriented conversation and now, right? Now, put your mind into the context of you are a later, all right? Everyone listening, you aren't going to be selling your home for 6 to 12 months. And I, Joe Schmo salesperson, am talking to you. I get all that info from you, the who, where, when, why, what, and how much. And because I'm a good salesperson, I want to try to set an appointment with you, right? This is a bad example because you're not ready for 6 to 12 months. If I said something like, Gabe, hey, that sounds fantastic. Listen, I'd love to meet with you. We can set up a game plan for getting your property ready and a strategy for really hitting the market and finding the buyers and getting the highest offers for you when you're ready. Okay. Now that's a bad example because he's 6 to 12 months out. Now let me show you this example instead. I just wrote an example for later. Instead, does this sound better for somebody in that category? Hey, you know what, Gabe, we find that home sellers who do a little pre-planning are the ones who ultimately sell for the most money in any market. And you're actually lucky that you have all this time to get ready. I'd like to come take a look at your home and give you advice on projects that you can do over time to best position your home for maximum return at some point in the future. Yes. Do you hear the difference in the language?
It's massive, and I'm glad you got there because somebody was asking, let's give examples, right, of what we're doing and how we're saying it. So I love that. And again, everybody's taking screenshots, and yes, we're recording it. Somebody asked, so you guys will be able to go back. I sent
the slides to Michelle. She can send them out to everybody who's viewing, right?
It's huge, completely different feeling, right? Like of what you're saying and how it's being received by the person you're talking to.
Completely different. And I can show this slide, but you have to demonstrate it, right? You have to do it like improv in the moment, and then you can hear the difference. Most agents are speaking in that now category, or maybe even mix in some of the soon language, right? Which does soften it a little, does push it out there farther, but they aren't really attuning themselves enough to where is this person right now? Because I think that we're always so anxious about getting the business right now and being proactive about it. Listen, man, you can act like a little bit more of a sleeper cell. You know, you can be proactive about trying to get face to face, but you have to put it into the context of what that consumer wants to hear, right? Know what we already know they think they're hearing, and then put it into the context of what they're willing to hear.
No, I love that, right? I mean, here's literally key points. If you've identified, and let's be honest, right? A lot of the people coming in, you know, Ylopo's generating and all this, they're giving us timeframes. Not that they're always 100%, but it's giving you an idea. So now you have bullet points to work into what you are saying, right? Yeah. So the pre-planning, have time when you're ready. I love that. And I'm guessing, or let me just ask you so I don't have to guess. Would you, if you're not sure on time frame, when you're speaking to someone to set this up, are you going to caution your questions or some of these keywords on the later side or the now side so that you can adjust accordingly? Is there one column you'd go to as a go-to that is opening up the conversation to then adjust?
Yeah, of course. Listen, I'll tell you this much. You can err on the side of too soft, of too far out, because they'll bring you back. You aren't going to break anything that way. We are salespeople. This is what I love to tell salespeople. We are the only people who ever forget that we are salespeople. The consumer never forgets that, right? And salespeople are only there to change your mind and get you to do something, oftentimes against your own best interest. That's what consumers think. And we remember when we were in Vegas, and I was like, hey, you salespeople out there, how come you don't just go down to the local car dealer and hang out with the car salesmen and women down there and shoot the shit with them? Yep. Because they're trying to change your mind and get you to do, they're there to sell you cars, right? They're not your friends. They're not there to hang out with you. Well, unfortunately, that's how consumers regard salespeople. And so you can err on the side of being too soft And if they have more motivation, they'll drag you backwards and they'll tell you. But if you're always just working from now, Gabe, let's get that home sold, man. Tell me what I got to do to put you in this car today. And you're like, bro, I'm not buying a car today. Please go away. That breaks rapport. That breaks your lead much faster than being softer.
I love that. And I love the little talking points. And I agree. If you're cautious on the side of later, and if somebody's more urgent, we typically will correct someone or like, oh, you know what? Well, you know, when you like pre-plan or when you're ready. Okay, well, I want to be now, right? They're more common, I think, to correct you to let you know their urgency is shorter than freak out and then just put up the wall. So I love on that side of later for your key points versus thinking that you're coming to bring buyers through their home and take photos on your very first.
Right. You aren't talking a motivated person out of into waiting longer, right? By softening your language, at least. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
Okay. So we have now, we have soon, and we have later. And I have examples in these slides that we can look through real quick and I can show you, and then we'll go to takeaway, right? The reversal. And this is an important concept to understand. So let me show these. We've got now, this is pretty obvious, right? We all know how to set an appointment now. Soon, you can hear the language starting to soften, can take a look at your progress, give you some advice, right, on what to focus on for a higher return, which things may not be important, and save you time and money by letting them go while you're still getting your home ready, right? You can hear how much softer the language is getting. Here we have the one that we just read, right? It's much softer. It's much farther out there. Now let's talk about the concept of reversal, right? Literally taking the sale away from them. Gabe, this might not be right for you, right? Gabe, you might not even need a car. You know, you may not, a Ferrari might not be right for you, Gabe. You might not be in that place in your life, you know, and then in your brain, you're like, no, I am, I need this. I want this. It's a status symbol, whatever. You get the point, right? It's the takeaway, because when, you know, again, back to the car dealership analogy, if you knew that if you walked down there and you knew that they weren't going to try to convince you to do anything or force you into anything, and in fact, they more oftentimes talked you out of it, you would have no fear about going down there, right? No salesperson talks you out of a sale. That's not what salespeople do. So an important reversal, the reversal concept is, if I am approaching a prospect who is not ready for a salesperson or doesn't want a salesperson, oftentimes the reversal or the takeaway can help me stay in that conversation. And I showed you some bullet points. So listen to this one, right? Gabe, you're undecided. You don't even know whether you're going to sell it or not, right? You don't have many plans around it. It's so far down the road, if at all it happens. So listen, Gabe, I completely get it, man. And maybe selling really isn't the best decision for you. Who knows? But I have these kind of conversations all the time with homeowners who may at some point need to decide which way to go. I take a quick look at their home, answer questions about the process, what would need to be done to it, and how much they're likely to get for it. I'm happy to do the same for you, even if a sale never happens at all. Super soft language. And we're also using a concept of third party, right? We're using social proof in here, which is an important one. Notice that I didn't say I can take a look at your home and answer your questions about the process. I made it even more detached from you by talking about a third person. This softens it even more. So that brings in social proof. It says other people do it like this. This is how other people have approached it and what they get out of it, so that I take it out of the context of you helping to soften it.
Yeah, I love this. And it's you know, like you said, that you have that little bit of FOMO, other people, it's not on them. And when you put in words, I think, like, you know, what your point is, when you put in words like answer your question, they may not have questions yet.
Right.
And so all of a sudden they're panicked because they think I should have questions. I'm not there yet. So this guy or this gal, this person is not for me right now.
This doesn't fit me because I don't have questions. Well, we avoid that when I say we answer their questions, right? If they have questions, we answer them.
Yep. And I just want to get a cue because before we go on, yes, Dale's provided all the slides to everybody. This is being recorded, so everybody will get a copy of the slides, which have the scripts and all that, so you guys have them. One thing that, and again, I'm just picking up on it, and I've got my notes going for my team for the replay, is also don't just take the slides, man. I'd be listening back to this. when you can tell, Dale, you teach this all the time, because even the tone and inflection, which I think you put into the slides with bold, there's a different way that you're saying those phrases or those words, I think, to make sure that you're calming somebody and ensuring that that you understand they're in the future. This is not about selling their home right now, creating them to be anything like that.
And you'll notice that really the bolded ones, the ones I'm calling out and putting inflections on in each of these examples, are where I'm trying to hit what you're saying in your head already. I'm trying to use the words that are going through your head, the thoughts you already have, that get you to agree with it. Yeah, selling might not be the right decision. We may at some point, it may never happen at all. You can see that those are the bold words here.
Yep.
And when you're speaking to somebody in that position, those are the things that are going through their heads.
Yep. I love that. So there was another question that came in. What type of conversations do you have with prospective sellers that are actively looking, but every time the agent's calling, they're not ready? I think you're kind of talking to that, but they're not ready yet. You're using Lee's own words. You're not ready yet without sounding salesy, right? They're responding to her emails and texts and stuff, but she's not getting them. It doesn't sound to the appointment because they're not ready yet.
Yeah, let's go down to these. Hey, yeah. If you're like, Dale, those are really fancy words, my friend, but they're still objecting to me, it doesn't work. Let's talk about some of these objections. There's a very specific one, right? It's too early, or my home isn't ready. And I wrote in here question game, because we do this activity in our training company called the question game, and everybody loves it. And basically, the purpose of the question game is to teach salespeople how to ask the most direct question that gets to the core of why someone is objecting to you or why they're saying this, right? And help you unpack it. Because if somebody's like, oh, hey, I'm looking at the homes, but listen, or, if you said to that particular potential buyer who needs to sell, hey, can I come by and take a look at your home and give you some ideas, blah, blah, blah. And they say, I'm not ready. Rather than just giving up, we go to this question game that we play and we teach. And so, Gabe, let's do that. Let's play the scenario, okay? You're going to be, it's too early, okay?
Got it.
Hey, so you're looking at the properties that I'm sending you. I see it. We've talked about it as a buyer. And now I'm going to try to pitch you again to get in your house, okay?
Okay.
Gabe, hey man, listen, I'm glad that you like the houses we're sending you. Listen, I know that they aren't going to work for you right now. And obviously we're keeping an eye to wait for something that is going to come up. I was thinking about you, knowing that you are going to need to put your home on the market. And I know we've talked about this before. I'm thinking that it could make a lot of sense for you and help you put some things into place if I stop by and take a look and give you some ideas on how to prepare it for that future potential sale. I'd love to come by this week sometime if that's possible.
Yeah, kids have been sick recently, just, things going on after, we had a bunch of people over for Easter, and it's probably just not a good time.
Got it. Okay. You want to go with it's too early.
Sorry, it's too soon. Sorry. That's right.
There it is.
It's too soon. Yeah, sorry. We just got there. We're not packing. We're not at that point yet to really have you come through.
Oh, got it. Okay. And so when you say at that point, what would the point be that you would be ready?
Ooh, wow. I guess that's a good question. We've been talking about it, and we just haven't got, I guess, to that moment that feels like it's right to have somebody come through to get the home listed.
Okay, got it. And so I guess that's a key point there, Gabe, is it does sound like you're not ready to get your property listed. And that's not what we would be doing. Me coming by is not about listing your property. It's not about marketing it. It's not about having buyers come through yet. Really, what we find with most of our clients who do the best in selling and making that purchase transaction, they do the best when they have a little bit of pre-planning done ahead of time and get themselves prepared before they're ever ready to sign anything or put it on the market. So that's what I'd like to do this week, so we can knock that out. Which day would work?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds good, but we also have a handyman that we're trying to get scheduled, maybe to come do some stuff, and we were thinking we want to get that done.
That's excellent. Did you happen to, I know we haven't talked about it. Did you consult with a salesperson on which things you should do or which things won't get you more value?
No, we just get it. I got the honeydew list that just keeps adding up. So I assume I need to get that all done before I have someone come through.
That's great. You know what? I completely appreciate that too. Most of my clients find that I can help with that honey-do list. We can knock some things out that aren't going to equal dollars in your pocket. Would you like to keep some of those dollars in your pocket and shorten the list, or do you just want to do it all?
Shortening the list, number one, and the dollars in my pocket, number two. So yeah, if I don't have to do all this crap, yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Now we went much farther than intended, but
yeah.
I just want to point out that it started with the question game, right?
Yes.
You said we're not at that point yet. We're not at that. What the hell does at that point mean? What is the point? I don't know. And a lot of agents will make an assumption. Oh, okay. Hey, I got it. Listen, you know, I'll meet with you later on. No big deal, because they're assuming what you mean by the point. So I unpack the point. Got it, Gabe. And so when you say that point at which you'd be ready, what would the point of being ready be? And you said to me, it's when we're ready to list, right? That's usually most of the time what is a seller is hung up on, right? It's the first objection over here. I'm not ready to list. And even if you use Dale's fancy words, right? Hey, you know what? We can come by, do some pre-planning, put the, you know, make the home ready, blah, 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 blah. And they just repeat back to you, I'm not ready to list. Just reverse it like I did. Oh, got it. Yeah, well, it sounds like you're not ready to list. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I'm coming by for. That's not the purpose of our conversation. So I'm just reversing and repositioning again.
Well, you just repeated it, right? And it's something we do a lot with buyers, but how you do is like, oh, when you say not that point, like it's just repeating back and then getting the definition so you don't assume it.
Yeah, exactly. What do we got? We're at 2:45. I think we got like, what, another, how long does this go?
We got another like 10 minutes or so for Q&A. Okay. One of the things I want to get back, and I love that, and I think that helped a lot with Lee's question. One of the things I wanted to show as well, just to kind of tie it to some of the tools for Lee. I'm going to share for a quick second. I'm going to come back to this slide.
Okay.
So the other thing, Lee, is we've got people talking. I think Dale nailed it. We got to ask the right questions to uncover what it is or why they're not coming through, or they're just not quite there yet. But we also need to offer value and information, right? And it's not always calling, because I think, and again, Lee, I'm going to use your words, not wanting to sound salesy. I think, first of all, when we ask the right questions, we're not, because we're making it about them, not us. So that's number one, and Dale lined that up perfect. But there are a couple other tools as well to use. So another one, because I just want to show a few as we're going, that we're loving is this market trends. I worked with the Ylopo team to get this created. And again, most of our tools, you'll realize all you need to know is your name, which makes it really easy. Hopefully you don't forget that. This would be for somebody who it's not listed yet, wanting to offer something quick of value. Throw in your name. If you have their address, it's great. If you don't have a full-on address, you can even do it as big as the city and just use it. I'm gonna kill this real quick because we didn't define an address, but send them this market trends tool, right? You can throw in different images. I'm not gonna waste the time to do it, but you can pull a quick market trends report, letting them know on one of those voicemail calls when they're not ready because they're in the future, something like that. Hey, you know, I'll still not near as eloquent as Dale, but hey, Dale, I know you're not ready to do anything yet, but I thought you might find it helpful to understand what the trends are in the market around your home, right? Sent you a report where you can see the trends of the total listings coming on around you over the last year, the median list price month to month, and even the market action index, which are a lot of fancy words. When you have a moment, I'd love to explain what this is, because it really talks about the balance between a buyer's or seller's market, right? This tool took seconds to generate. I can attach it as a PDF. I can grab the link. One of the things we've done, because those of you that know me, we're geeks and love to put everything into SOPs. So we actually send this out in a link. Let me just jump up. Sorry, I'm on the wrong one. I've got it built out. I'm building out the Ylopo one. We've put it right into our Follow Boss, into a template, introed with basically what I just said is in a bomb video. It's 47 seconds. And then it throws the link right down below it. So I have one built for Boise, Denver, all the major cities and the markets that we're at. And then all you need to do is just build it in there and boom, it goes out. So I've got an evergreen link that I can put in there with a video introducing that's something of value, educating them what's going on, without asking for a listing appointment, without asking to come through their home, other things that you can do that you're not sounding salesy. SOP is a standard operating procedure. Sorry, we document every lead source that comes in step by step so that we know what we're doing, so that it's getting followed, and so that the agents or ISAs have a resource to reference to make sure they're not skipping steps. But another, well, I think most people in here are Ylopo, use that market trends report to now add something of value, visual stimulation, while you're nurturing these people that are soon or, sorry, it was now, soon, and
Oh, now, soon, later, and takeaway.
yeah, later, right? Soon and later is easy. Even the takeaway, right? I know you're not ready now, but my other clients have loved this data. You're probably not ready, you know, whatever it is, but use those tools and give them something of value, and you can automate most of it.
Yeah, with a takeaway, you wouldn't even say the word ready. You'd say undecided. I know you're undecided. I know it may not even happen, but I'd love to keep you educated.
Love that. Love that.
Because they're undecided. That's what they said. I think that, you know, between obviously what we teach the spoken, you know, direct selling skills to salespeople. These tools are the 1-2 punch that you need to have, because the truth is, not everybody's going to get face to face with you. Not everybody is going to say yes to you or meet with you right now. And if you can stay in their world and you put it together with really great language, and if you operate as a professional salesperson, a really smart salesperson who understands how people think and how consumers think, then you can meet them where they're at and approach them in a mutually beneficial way, and then use these tools to supplement the nurturing process over time that it takes with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, and that's the thing, right? They all need to be nurtured. We have a ton of tools. We have our words. And I think you had another slide or two. I think I want to make sure we at least show. So if people are going through the replay, they see them.
Sure.
But I think you had some keywords there. It's in their world, right? I think it's important with buyers. I'm not saying it's not, but what I'm learning is we're really trying to scale up more listings in our business. The words matter even more, because this is their personal home. This is where their kids are going to bed. This is very personal. And if you're choosing the wrong words and you're not in their world, they're saying, you're trying to put me on the street. I don't have a place to go. Like, I'm not ready. Right.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. I had a couple of other ones on here. You know, I need to talk to my spouse or other decision maker. That's a good one. And we use what's called a break apart technique. And again, this is spoken. This is, you could also do it in written, but it's best used when it's spoken. So we use what's called a break apart technique, because I can't just, you know, if Gabe says to me, oh, you know, I gotta talk to my husband. I can't just be like, you know, hey, what do you want to talk to them about? Right? What are you guys talking about? Or anything like that. That's too intrusive. But instead, what I can do is I can break it apart, right? Gabe, why don't let's go through that. Okay. Hey, Gabe, can I come to your house and take a look at it? I need to talk to.
Okay. Sorry. I'm big sales Jason. You know what? I'm not the, you know, I gotta talk to my other half here and make sure he's on board before I probably have anybody come through.
Oh, okay. Got it. Let me, just so that we're on the same page. Did you need to talk to him about whether or not you want to sell, or whether you wanted to get some pre-planning information from a professional?
That's really good.
That's the break apart technique.
Yeah, that's really, well, no, just really like when it's, you know, when's the right time to have somebody come through. Like,
oh, got it. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. You know, do you guys think that you're likely going to be selling, or have you still not decided whether you even want to do that?
We've decided that we were going to do it. It's timing now. It's coming.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. And so then I would ask one more discovery question before I tried to close you again, which is just about positioning. Got it, Gabe. And so in your mind, when did you think you'd be ready to, or at what point did you think you'd want to talk to a real estate professional?
You know, probably once we found something that we thought was the right home to move into, and you know, then we know we're not going to be homeless.
Oh yeah. Yeah. That makes a lot of sense. No, you know, a lot of people feel the same way. And what we have found with a lot of our most successful clients is, while they are out there looking for where they're going to go next, they find a lot of value out of meeting with us to simply talk about where their home is at now so that they have the time to do any positioning or fixing things or getting it ready so that they can get the most money out of the market when they do finally find that right place and decide to put their home on the market. I'd love to stop by this week for, say, 20 minutes, meet you and your significant other, and just do a little bit of that pre-planning with you. So there you hear how the languaging changes, right?
Okay, so I'm going to rewind you. Sorry, because I want to, well, it's recorded, but I want to hear it again because I'm going to write it down. Because I love the question, but the very first one, it was something to the effect, are you guys deciding if you're going to sell or if you like, how did you say that? Because I thought that was money.
The break apart technique,
Yes.
right? So essentially what I'm doing is I'm separating. So if you think about it this way, you know how we talked about a salesperson represents decided to sell, ready to list, yada, yada, right? So basically, if I know that and I'm talking to a seller, I just break the two things apart. I break apart meeting with me from ready to sell your house. That's all I did.
Huge. Just the way you phrase that is massive. Because again, we're just assuming when they're like, oh, well, you know, there's somebody else involved. Okay, what are you decide? I loved it. That was another aha.
And I can do it again. And so what if I just want people to hear what I'm doing? I'm taking the thing that you want to say no to, and I'm pulling out the thing that I want to offer you. Okay. So you can say no to this thing if that's what it is. Yeah. But I'm positioning the thing that I want to transition what I represent to. So Gabe, tell me that you need to speak to your other half.
Yep. So yeah, that all sounds great, Dale. But you know what? I really need to talk to my husband about this before we go too far.
Oh, okay, great. Totally respect that. And just so we're on the same page, do you need to talk to your other half about whether or not you want to sell your home, or about whether you want to meet with a real estate professional to get some advice if you do decide to sell?
Yeah. It really just, when's the right time to have somebody come in and schedule that, because we're both crazy busy.
Got it. Yeah, that makes perfect sense. So now we would just go down the same path that I went, where I unpack where you're thinking, where your head's at, what I mean to you, and then I change what I mean to you.
No, I think it's huge. Love that. Just that separation right there is massive. I love it. All right, we're down to 5 minutes. There was another question, just kind of instructions on the market trends that I showed. It's pretty self-explanatory. There's a bunch of videos on the market trends, but it was as simple as, I'm going to show it really quick. Again, because there's one more I wanted to show you guys just because we're talking value. So again, the market trends is literally just choose your name from a dropdown, and it's on the same tools page I showed earlier. Choose the area. This can be a zip code. Whoops, I got too many numbers in there. It could be a zip code. It could be a city. It could be a full-on address, whatever it is. And then you just show what trends. I'm not a big fan of price per square foot. So you just show what trends and create the page. It's that easy. This is an evergreen link. So if somebody was to save it, every month there's going to be a new dot on it, right? And they can toggle between the different information. The market action index literally tells you what it is here. It's just a number that's showing you if it's a buyer's market or seller's market. And it's a great talking point. I would advise to not go too deep on this. If you're sending it with a video or something, highlight it and then have a reason for them to call you back to explain what it means. And again, it's nothing about selling their home, just about what the market's showing. All right. But there's one more, we were real quick. The heat map. This is one of my favorite. Again, starts with knowing your name. This is for a home that is not on the market. All right. So you type in the address, select it from the dropdown, and then just put in, bracket we all know what the property is going to probably sell for. So we're going to bracket it somewhat, because what I'm doing is I want to be able to let a potential seller know that if I go into my database, look around their home, right? And it's searching right now in my Follow Boss account. How many people do I currently have in my database looking for a home just like theirs? Put in the square footage here as well. And as my marketing reach. So as soon as this populates, always goes a little slow on Zoom, then I'll be able to, what did I do? Do I have enough zeros here? 350, 500 to 2,000. I'm not sure why it did that. Of course, going live here. But it's going to give a full-on heat map report, and it shows that I have, there we go, finally caught up. We have a large database in Boise, so there are real numbers coming through. It'll get, you can customize this image Sorry, we're going slow. But it'll basically have their address here, my picture, and then it says that we've got 1,700 buyers in our database looking for a home like theirs, as well as what our marketing reach, come on, load, what our marketing reach is around their home. So it's just another tool like that that we can send out and let them know that we actually have active buyers should they be thinking or when the time is right. So they know they're working with somebody that has people in there. So, and then somebody said templates. Okay, once you create those, just grab the URL and then go into Follow Up Boss and create your the template, right? Just now you're not having to recreate it every single time. So you can just literally throw it in there and talk about it so that you don't have to recreate it each time. So, but leverage the tools with the words. You can't just do these links and send them out and expect to have a bunch of listing appointments.
No, then you follow up behind it. Hey, did you get the info I sent you? Talk about it, and then use some of the magic words to get yourself in their door.
Yeah, I love it. So, all right, we've got a couple minutes. I don't see any open questions as of right now. There was one on the open house tool. Whether they use their phone to scan, it's the same questions. So as soon as they hit submit on that open house tool, whether they're on their phone or on the QR code, what's awesome is the leads automatically generated, pushed into your CRM, tagged open house, assigned to you because you chose your name from the dropdown. They're sent the full detail of that listing, and they're putting on listing alerts of other homes like that, all as they're taking a step over the threshold to get in there. So I think that looks like they already put the link in there to get all the things. So
there you go.
Dale, I'm going to give a takeaway to let you wrap it up. But here's what I'm going to give them one. All right. And then you can give another is, wait, how do you know they completed it on their phone? Sorry. They completed it on their phone because usually within about 30 seconds, first of all, they'll get a screen. Thank you. And within about 30 seconds, if you have this in your pocket, it's vibrating, maybe 15 seconds. All right. You've got it. It's submitted it. It's captured. Everything's in there. All right. So takeaways. Guys, document this process, right? We have a lot of it in our SOP, the standard operating, the scripts, all right, that are going in there. Throw them automatically into your phone somewhere in your CRM or easily accessible so that you guys can practice them and role play them. But it takes time. He had the different columns, right? A lot of these are in the future. You need to do this. You're going to have the low hanging ready now, and that's great. But a majority of these people are going to be in the nurture. And when you're saying these words and learning and earning their trust, because you're not trying to just go meet with them and put a sign in the yard, have them sign a piece of paper, you build that rapport and they come when you're asking the right questions and then put them in the right column. I think what was key in one of those slides is identify what you think the time frame is, use those keywords because that's going to build the trust to nurture them to when the time is right. That's my big one from this.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And did you want me to say something about the tools or any
just for you, like takeaways for them, like beginning steps. Somebody saw this, it's overwhelming. They're starting over or starting from scratch, whatever it is.
Yeah. So I think that the biggest step for somebody just starting with this, where they're like, wow, you know what? You're right. I find it so hard to get appointments with sellers who aren't ready to go right now. Look at that, what I showed, those bullet points, and stop using any of the words that are in the now category. Okay. You can just even get rid of the damn now category altogether, because like I said, you can err on the side of softening your language and they'll drag you back if they happen to be a ready seller. It's not like they're going to be like, oh, okay, well, he said I can't talk to him until later on. That it doesn't work that way. So just start there by softening your language and take more cracks at it. Okay. I don't ask every single person who owns a property if you can come and take a look at it with them using whatever language you use. Okay. I don't care where they're at in the process. Ask them. And those two things combined are going to get you more face-to-face appointments.
I love that. And just do it. Like you said, just take more cracks at it. I love that. Listen to it. Also use your CRM, listen to what you're saying. And I would then go listen to your call. And did you follow that? Because I think sometimes we think we're saying something that we are not, especially when you're learning new scripting and flows. So go listen to that and compare it to the slides that Dale's sharing with you guys.
There is nothing like listening to yourself. I want to share a little anecdotal thing. I know we're out of time, but one of my trainees, really good salesperson, sells like 50 or 60 houses a year, right? He's calling his leads. He's calling a nurture. Nurture goes, yeah, man, we're going to wait because my wife's having our second child here in the next month or so. He goes, okay, great. So when are you guys thinking you want to get in the house? Maybe like, 3-4 months from now? And I'm like, dude, slow down. Like, you just missed a massive rapport building opportunity because you weren't focused on what they were saying, right? Just slow down, listen to them, and take the opportunities as they come. And then in some cases, create the opportunities that you can create. But when I played that with him and he listened to it, he was like, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Yeah, that's massive. And you're right. I'm now thinking about you learn to ask the questions, which is step one, and then listen to what they are saying to navigate towards the next
and listen
one.
to yourself is the whole point, right?
Yeah.
Listen to your own recordings, you'll be shocked.
I love it. All right, we're a few minutes over. Dale, always a pleasure. I will see you in 2 weeks in Orlando at the
Yes, sir.
Ylopo Summit. I know your URL's on there. Everybody's going to get a copy of slides. The link's in the chat right now. It'll also be sent out, and it's replay live in Ylopo Success Community. So check it out.
And my favorite Ylopo people, you guys get a discount doing live training with us. So come check us out.
Do it. Awesome. I love it, man. Love you. See you in a couple of weeks. Everybody take care. Have a great day.